Do you know what we're talking about today?
No.
Marriage! Since we're thinking about doing it soon.
Are we?
Don't say it like that! People are gonna peg me as that crazy woman that's like, I just want to get married, but my boyfriend won't commit. And then I get painted as the bad guy. That's not fair. Don't laugh! Not fair.
Okay, we are.
We are! Welcome back, guys, to another episode of... We still haven't decided the name, but we're going to talk about our relationship in the car. We are getting to that age, almost 30. And I think maybe like 5 years into the relationship, people were already like, when are you guys going to get married? You guys have been together for so long. But now that it's 12 years, people are like, okay, now you guys really need to get married. Like, that was due 7 years ago. What are you doing now? Seven's parents.
No, not my dad, just my mom.
Yeah, not your dad. Your dad just trolls us, but your mom...
He doesn't really care.
Yeah. We thought that your mom's itch was scratched when your brother got married, but that itch was not scratched. And my parents don't care. My parents are super chill.
Wait, question. So your parents don't want to meet my parents unless we're getting married.
Yes.
And if we chose to not get married, would you just accept that they'll never meet?
I'm pretty cool with that. Do you understand how much scare... Okay, unanimously, people would agree with me, it's much scarier when parents meet parents because you don't have control over in-laws the way you do with partners. With you, I could be like, don't be a fucking weirdo to my parents and be on your best behavior. But to... Actually, no, wait. To my parents, I could say that too.
You can say that.
But to your parents, I can't be like, don't be a fucking weirdo. There's just way too many variables and extra bodies that get mixed in with personalities. You remember when we first started dating, you asked me to marry you.
That was a mistake. The first mistake. I'm kidding. Okay.
Don't touch me. Versus a traditional idea of what marriage is, we're quite different. I think firstly, the fact that we don't believe that marriage needs to be for forever. I will never make a vow saying that through what's that one? Life or death? No, wait.
Sickness and in health.
Yeah.
Come on.
Through sickness and in health, I'll be with you regardless. Of course, we do aspire to be together as a monogamous couple. Monogamous for the time being, we don't know. I swear we're gonna be swingers. We would vow to do our best to each other, but it's just not, in my idea, it's not realistic to commit to life, and there's no point in kind of beating a dead horse. If you come to the end of a relationship or you've built up so much resentment against one individual and it just doesn't seem like things are going to work out, and you've obviously made your best efforts, it's okay to choose to end it. It's actually very healthy and a very positive decision to be like, listen, this is just not going anywhere. Let's...
People grow apart or change.
Yeah, and it's totally normal. That way we sort of work harder because we don't, like, we want to prolong it as much as we can. We just don't expect it to be for life. It is very scary for people that have been together for so long to end a relationship.
It's a big decision.
It's a huge decision, so it's not like we would take it lightly and be like, I just don't feel like committing anymore.
Well, I mean, if one person's not happy and the other person is happy, that is enough of a reason.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you get what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying, honey. I just see really a lot of unhappy couples that have committed and married to each other and feel like they're stuck and stick it out for the kids, which is not
Also
a real
not a problem that we'll have.
Yeah, that's true.
Stick it out for the dogs.
I'm getting full custody of the dogs. Which brings to the other point of why we're not married yet, is because marriage, we don't really have a clock ticking or steps to take. We don't have kids that we're aspiring to, and even if, let's say, we wanted to have kids, I wouldn't necessarily think that I'd have to get married first. If you take out that factor of like you're promising a lifelong commitment, I guess the weight of marriage isn't as heavy for us as it is for other people, which is maybe why we don't feel rushed to get married, because we're already committed to each other.
Yeah. Commitment is separate from a piece of paper.
Traditionally, like, a lot of things came after marriage, like sex and living together and children, but we've already knocked 2 out of 3 of those bags. So at this point, we've completely bastardized marriage, right? Everybody's like, what's the point of getting married then? Why do you guys even want to get married? Truthfully, it's just to have a celebration. It's just to have a party.
And we're not spending a down payment of a house on it.
That's the other thing. Like, wedding is a whole other fuckery. And our idea of a wedding is also just like marriage, so different from what people usually...
Traditional.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with traditional. There's nothing wrong with if you want exactly everything. The garter belt ceremony is so fucking weird to me, because I can't imagine you going under my dress and using your mouth to take a garter off of my leg in front of all my relatives. But aside from that, you do exactly what you want to do, and there's no judgment. But between us, we just don't. The idea of saying my vows in front of people is so weird to me. Like, I don't really want to tell people how much I love you in front of people. Plus, you know me, I'm gonna bawl my eyes out. Like, bawl my eyes out. So all I really need is a court dude. What are they called? Observance? Obituants? Nope, that's
death.
That's death. Officiant. And I guess we need witnesses.
Yeah.
But that's chill too. As our friend, he said something about weddings that really shook me and completely changed my course of how I viewed weddings. But he said weddings are very masturbatory. And I was like, what does that mean? And then I thought about it, and it's so true. If you think about how much of a performance you put on.
4 dresses.
Yeah. People.
The groom does a dance for the wife. And the wife does a dance for the groom.
Yeah. And it feels like a whole production.
Toasts and speeches.
Yes. And it feels, a wedding is kind of a selfish thing, because it's just to be like, oh, look at us, we're a couple getting married. And we're going to have a wedding. We're going to do the whole masturbatory thing too.
There's not so much masturbation in your face.
Yeah. Traditions that we practice, I just don't really understand, because as North American culture, both of us most identify with, I don't view any of those traditions as valid for myself, because I just didn't really grow up with it. I grew up in between like Asian and North American, so like I didn't really know either. Out of respect for my parents, I'll do some Chinese culture things, and I would like to get to know more. But even my mom never wanted to get married, but she never wanted a wedding herself. In fact, she ended up weaseling her way out of planning anything.
Sounds like your mom.
Right? She was like, my dad would ask her for input and do stuff, and she'd be like, I don't care. And she's like, if it gets complicated, she's like, I don't want to get married at all. And he'd be like, oh, okay, don't worry, I'll plan it. And he takes care of all of it, which is exactly my parents. Yeah, she doesn't believe in any of the traditions either, and I think that they're really fun and great to have, and there are some fun things, of course, to involve, but then to think about why you're doing it is just not, it doesn't help us as a couple at all. So we're opting out of a lot of it. We just want to have a party, and we just want to have fried chicken, picnic style. We are so lucky to have my friend Karthika, who is an intense event planner, and I feel like my biggest concern with getting married is losing friendship, because every person that I've talked to has lost friends from helping each other plan each other's weddings. And it is the ultimate friendship killer. I know that there's going to be stresses. I don't want to be naive and be like, it's going to be fun, and I want it to be like, we're all going to get along. No, there's going to be stresses. I want to be like, leading up to the day and the day of, we just came together as a group, and we all, pulled through and got this done together, which is a bigger gift to me than having like a registry. The commodification of the wedding business is just a huge fucking scam. I don't know what a bridal shower is. I don't know what a bachelorette is. They're both parties before the wedding. What's the difference? One has strippers. How did we come to this conclusion of agreeing with everything with marriage? I feel like a lot of people ask us, especially with kids, they're like, well, how does Stefan feel about it? I'm like, he feels the same way I do, or else we wouldn't be together. But I think it helps that we've grown together. We were kids when we got together, so a lot of our values were shaped to become aligned together.
Yeah, but I'm also not the type to be like, that's a deal breaker. Like, if you changed your mind later on in life and you're like, oh, I want to have
a crazy fucking wedding.
I want a crazy fucking wedding. I'd be like, sure.
That's true. I just want the sluttiest wedding dress.
Yeah, that's fine.
Side boob, front boob, nips, backless, slit, up to your hip.
A backless, frontless, sideless dress.
Yes!
It sounds like you're going in your party suit there.
I just don't feel like a wedding is such a big deal. Like,
There's no value in it.
If I ever feel like throwing another party for myself, I'll do the same thing. Like.
Yeah, we could have, for $60,000, we could have 6 $10,000 parties once a year. Yeah. Think about that. That's fucking awesome. You could have 6 $10,000, like, probably not fully catered and like all that stuff, but that's a good party.
That's a good party. The whole diamond industry really upsets me. How they mark up diamonds and how it's become diamond engagement rings were not a thing. It only became a thing in the 30s, 40s, so not that long ago, and it was all due to one marketing scheme. One crazy intelligent marketing campaign decided to say that, an engagement ring must be, what is it, a tenth or something of a man's salary to prove that you are worthy of that woman's hand. And it's like, it makes no fucking sense to me. Of course I'd love an engagement ring. I just don't think that it has to be a diamond. And I don't think that it has to be a certain price. I just think that it has to suit my style. There's too much weight put on one day. So then the expectations are way too high. And then people just end up getting really disappointed. There's no deadline for us. Though, I think, knowing his personality, he's just going to put it off. And then I'll get impatient. But it has nothing... I don't think that...
If we don't have a timeline, how can you be impatient?
Because I'm just impatient!
Yes. So it doesn't matter if I loafed or not. I'm just impatient.
Yeah. What does marriage mean to you?
Not much.
You would be okay if we never got married?
Yeah.
Do you think that you're getting married to me because you're doing me a favor?
No. Realistically, inside me, I feel no... Other than to have a fun party with our friends and celebrate.
Tax benefits. I'd be okay with throwing a marriage party but not signing the certificate.
Yeah, right? Like, I would be okay with just having a party to be like, we're happy. Like a we're happy party.
Yeah.
And then...
I'd still call it a wedding.
Yeah. It just, like,
I just don't sign the papers.
Yeah, inside of my body, I don't feel an urge to be like, I have to get married so I can wear a ring and show everybody that I'm married, you know?
Yeah. The size of the wedding, another thing is, we agreed that every guest to our wedding has to really know the both of us. So if it's a relative on his side that has not met me, they are not coming to the wedding. And same thing as my relatives. We stand very firm to our values and what we want out of this wedding, which we are paying for by ourselves. Oh, you know what I hate the most about weddings? When it says Mr. and Mrs. Alex Chan's daughter, Letitia, invites you to Mr. and Mrs. Lammy's. No, wait. Mr. and Mrs. Daniel Lammy's. Because it has to have the husband's name, son, to the wedding. I'm like, I'm sorry, who? Whose wedding is this now? So yeah, that's it. That's our views on marriage. We've arrived at our destination also. It's good timing.
Almost.
We're going snowboarding, which is, I mean, I tried my best to make myself look a little better. But I still have a pimple sticker on.
Oh.
I'm interested to hear everybody else's views on marriage, and I completely respect if you have a very traditional view on marriage. It really irks me when people judge us for our slightly less traditional view of marriage. If you guys want to hear girl talk stuff, that also includes our relationship, but from a female perspective, you can listen to the podcast, Girl Wah, on all places. It's on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. We'll see you guys next time. Bye! Yay! Commitment. So what is it? Do we just... Oh my god. I thought you were doing something crazy.
Yeah, I was gonna run.